In 2017, I moved to LA from Minneapolis in Minnesota. I've been living in Minneapolis for about 7 years at this point, and I decided that I was going to try my shot at Los Angeles. And I'd always kind of had the dream of getting out there and seeing if I could, do the thing in LA. And I'd been there for a couple of weeks, and I was working away in a coffee shop somewhere, and I all of a sudden got a notification on my phone through Facebook Messenger, I think, and it was a friend of mine, Akbar, who worked for Latin Percussion, and I met him at the NAMM show in Anaheim, California a few years previous, and he had seen, I guess, that I'd just recently moved to LA, and he sent me a message. He said, "Hey man, I see you moved to LA. I'm working up at DW Drums, Latin Percussion, and Drum Channel. Why don't you come up and visit us and I'll show you around?" And me being a percussionist, this was like an absolute dream and an opportunity not to be missed. So I replied and I said, "Hey, I'd absolutely love to, of course. When is good?" And he was like, "Can you get up here this afternoon?" And I was obviously like, absolutely. So jumped in my Toyota Highlander and headed up to Oxnard, California, which is where the sort of DW LP and Drum Channel headquarters is. Anyway, he showed me around. It was really exciting to be there. Absolutely overjoyed to be finally at DW Drums and LP and just getting a look around the place. Anyway, he said, "I'd really like you to meet Don Lombardi, who's the founder of DW Drums and the founder of Drum Channel and now in charge of LP." Obviously, I was very excited by this prospect, and we just happened to bump into him in the hallway and got chatting to Don. Lovely, lovely man, very inquisitive about who I was. And I sort of mentioned that I'd started play cajon and other things, and he was interested to know more. So he said, "Well, why don't we set up a meeting? Here's my card, get in touch with my assistant, and why don't you come meet me next week up here?" And I was like, absolutely, that would be amazing. Thanks, Don. So headed away, drove back to LA, absolutely dancing the height of myself with joy, having possibly set up a meeting with Don Lombardi. Following week, set up the meeting, go up to Oxnard again, and I'm sat in Don Lombardi's office and we're chatting, kind of getting to know each other a bit. So I thought to myself, here I am in a meeting with Don Lombardi, absolute legend in the drumming world, and I would really like to work with Drum Channel or DW in some way. And I thought, right, how am I going to do this? And I said, "Has Drum Channel got a podcast?" And Don said, "Well, no, actually, but we're thinking of starting one." And I immediately, very candidly said, "Well, why don't you hire me to run it?" And he said, "Oh, that could work." And I thought, and then at that point he said, "How much do you think you'd be looking for to run the podcast?" And I thought, well, if I can get this to cover my rent, then that would be a good start. So I just asked him for the figure that would cover my rent, and he said, "Well, let's try that." And we shook hands, and then I started the Drum Channel podcast, which was amazing. It was an amazing journey for me. I did 19 episodes before I moved back to Scotland. After 10 years of being in the States, it was time to return to the homeland for me. But I did 19 episodes. It was very fun, very exciting to meet all of my drumming heroes. So I guess what I'm trying to say with this video, which kind of goes without saying, that if the opportunity is there, do not wait around. Come up with something, shoot your shot.